Hey, I'm Naya. Welcome back to the channel. So, a couple hours ago, the OCG ban list dropped, and I decided to take a look at it, to talk to you guys about it, to sort of go over my takes on it. And if you have anything to say, anything to add, please leave it down in the comment section down below. I would love to read all y'all's responses. Alright, so going over the ban section first. Two cards were banned, VFD and Mystic Mine, which is kind of huge. And I'm thinking if there are any implications with, obviously not VFD, but with Mystic Mine getting hit in the TCG, that would be kind of awesome. But other than that, I have a sort of a hot take. I'm not opposed to Mystic Mine. Like by default, I'm not opposed to Mystic Mine being able to out, for example, huge combo boards that you wouldn't be able to out otherwise. But that aside, because I know people are just going to be beefing about that, but other than that, it's okay that it's banned. Like, it's completely fine that it's banned because it just promotes uninteractive gameplay, and being able to deny your opponent from playing in order to win is just wrong. And nobody wants to sit there and just draw cards or deck themselves out and just look at your opponent and being like, what? Like, like come on, you know? Like, if you use it to out something, I think it's okay. But granted, we do have so many going second cards in the metagame right now that having a Mystic Mine is really not that necessary. I've also not seen it be played a lot. Even in the OCG, I haven't really seen it in lists and so on. But I still feel like in the OCG it's different because they have Max C. And because they have Max C, they effectively maximize their chances of seeing Mystic Mine, like even more. Because they had it in one before. With Max C, you just dig through your deck and you're good. You just out whichever board you want. And I don't think that's good. So that's it for Mystic Mine. It's great that it's gone. If it's gone in the TCG, I would have no problems with it, to be completely honest. And in regards to VFD, now in the TCG, obviously it's banned, which is incredible. It's just great. It should stay. It should honestly just stay there, probably forever. But as for the OCG, they didn't go from 3 to 0 like we did. They went from 1 to 0. And probably they just thought, okay, at 1, it's fine. But right now, virtual worlds are utilizing it. They're playing it, obviously, because it's virtual world. But also, the new Phoenix Brave deck is playing it. Now, Phoenix is because of Phoenix Enforcer, which you can run. And what the deck does, essentially, in a nutshell, you just make VFD through the Hockey Fibrex Aurora Dawn combo, but because of the Brave engine, you cannot get disrupted. I mean, you can get disrupted with multiple disruptions, but the Brave engine, what it does is it makes the Wandering Griffin Rider, which shuffles itself back to negate a card. So what you do is you prevent your opponent from negating anything, from disrupting your combo, and you just make VFD, which is wrong by itself. And also, it's interesting to me, thinking about it now, two cards that promote uninteractive gameplay were banned, which is great. I feel like everything is just going in the right direction, essentially. All right, as for limited cards, we have two limited, but one of them is just strange. Like, Gamma was limited to one, which I guess we should just go over Zeus first. Zeus is so good. Like, I would get mad all the time playing against Tri Brigade, for example, where I would make a board and I would be happy, and then they would just normal summon Zoo. Like, whichever Zoo. Doesn't matter. So it getting hit is great, but it's just that it wasn't really, from what I've seen, like looking at some of the Road of the King OCG, like metagame reports, I didn't really see people playing more than one. Like, the only deck that plays more than one was the Eldritch deck, because of extravagance, pot of extravagance. And yeah, obviously you don't want to banish all of them. Great, play more. But other than that, I haven't really seen people running more. So essentially with this hit, what they did is they just hit pure Zoo even more. Which with Dryden Band is like, you know, it's whatever. But I'm honestly thinking if Zeus can get banned at some point. Like, I'm pretty sure it can, because it's too good. It's so good. It's so strong. It just outs boards, just like that. Yeah. So being at 1, maybe we're just sort of easing into it being banned, sort of like with VFD. I don't know. We'll see. In the TCG, it's still at 3. I don't think people run more than 1, so yeah, we'll see about that. As for Gamma, I purposely left this for the end, just because of like it's Gamma to 1. It's so weird to me. But then thinking, like further thinking of it, with Max C, you see more. Now it was semi-limited before. That's what I should also add. It was semi-limited in the previous list, and with Max C, you don't see only 2 copies. You see Gamma essentially, more and sooner, and it's just so impactful. Like, I would not say there are any TCG implications just because of the lack of Max C, obviously. And also, I wouldn't say people really play it. Like, I haven't seen it be played in the longest time. Like, some decks, obviously, but even Virtual World started cutting it, So, there's that. But also, I was thinking, like, why would Gamma get hit? Why would it get hit? And I came up with this theory that, like, in Sword Soul, there are 2 cards, the Tactician and then a spell card, a Dragon Sword appear, something like that. And what they do is both of them activate, one in hand, the monster, and then one is obviously a spell. So if you don't have monsters on board. So if you get disrupted with something like Ash on the spell, for example, you just Gamma, and then it's sort of like with Dragon Link, where you could Gamma the Ash after they ashed Chaos Space, and you could go into a Synchro 8. And with Sword Soul, obviously you have an arsenal of Synchro 8s. So there's also that, I think, because I've seen Gamma being run in Sword Soul, obviously. So I guess there's another implication, but yeah, other than that, it's just interesting, Gamma at 1 is just, it seems odd, Now, as for this semi-limited list, I've never been quite a fan, but it does make sense to have some cards at 2, just because you minimize the chance of drawing them more often if they're good, if that makes sense. Like, from what I've seen in the last couple of months, the decks that run, for example, Pot of Desires, which went to 2, which is like the weirdest thing ever. But the decks that run Pot of Desires, they would run 3 because of the consistency. For example, Virtual World. For example, I've seen it in Sword Soul. Also, Solomon Grace sometimes played it. Even Prank Kids played it. But it would most likely be played at 3 just because you want to maximize on your consistency, obviously. So by making it go to 2, and it's the same with Crossout Designator, you just take away the chance of people drawing it more, therefore making their consistency worse. And then also Crossout Designator. Now it's funny because we don't even have it yet. Now if there are some leaks to be believed that were leaked, it's coming here soon, but we don't have it yet, and it was hid in the OCG, which is just interesting. But also, people usually run 3, obviously. I've seen some lists with 2. Most of the time they run 3, but also they have 2 Called by the Grave, which is huge because Crossout Designator, by default, it's better than Called by because you just negate cards that you otherwise wouldn't be able to negate with Called by. But they have 2 Called by the Grave and 3 Designator, making it they have 5 options of negating something that would prevent you from establishing your board, which is huge. So it going to 2, obviously with Max C, you see it sooner, just like in all of the cases I've mentioned before, but it's just a hit that makes a lot of sense. And then 2 other cards that went to 2, they were both previously at 1, and they are both very archetype dependent, or they're just for a certain archetype, and it's Soul Eating Overraptor and Red MD, Red as Arcanist Metal Dragon. Now the Red MD, obviously for Dragon Link, after the errata, it's just not as good, obviously. Being a hard once per turn now, it takes away a lot of its power. So it going to 2, completely fine. I have not seen Dragon Link be played at all almost in the OCG, and that's probably because they're way ahead in sets, so they just choose different decks. Power creep is a thing that works probably way differently in the OCG, and we still have Dragon Link here, so that's just the implications here. Maybe we could see it, at more, just because LP was banned. So there's that. And then also Soul Eating Oviraptor. Now, I wouldn't want to be in the OCG, just to be completely honest. Dino was my first deck. Like, my first deck was 3 Dino Structure decks. But I don't like them. Like, they're just too good sometimes, with the Misc and everything. And the OCG, that's what I was getting at. OCG has everything, almost everything at full power, and now with Soul Eating going to 2, and they also, the only thing that was sort of hit, I guess, is Draconic Diagram at 1, which you don't need to run the True King version. Like, you just run whichever version of Dino you want. But essentially, everything else is just untouched. And Soul Eating coming to 2. So I guess that's great for any Dino fan. I have too much PTSD, to be completely honest, which probably many players do have. Alright, now the unlimited ones. All of them were previously at 2. Nasty Pendulum Call, Salmon Great Circle, and also Mind Control. As for Nasty, Dangers aren't really seeing that much play right now. Nasty's level is a good level for Tomahawk though, which is horrible since it's still legal. I don't really see anything happening with it. Maybe now that Nasty is back, we might see something happening, but we should just wait for that. Other than that, the better levels are the Jackalope and Tsuchinoko levels, obviously them being level 3. Jackalope is still at 2, so Dangers are not completely back, and they're, like I said, they don't really see that much play. Then Pendulum Call. Pendulum Call is a great card. Like, I love Pendulum Call with all my heart, but Pendulums overall are just, they're so power crept. They are so power crept. Like, decks are just so much better than Pendulums. So I feel like Pendulum Call coming back is great for anyone playing the deck, but it's just not, I don't think it's gonna impact anything. With our list, we have Pendulum Call, but we're slowly getting back Double Iris, also Skull Crabat Joker, which we might see come back to more on this list that we're waiting for. But even if it does, like, Pendulums are just, they don't have what it takes. Maybe if Electromite comes back, but that's about it. I mean, in the OCG, Electromite is a 1, and I wouldn't say they're doing anything much. Yeah, then Mind Control. Now, this is something I'm a bit wary of. Like, Mind Control, we have it at 1, and they just put it to 3, which is, it's one of the biggest differences, I think, when you look at the card and you feel like it's powerful, because I feel like Mind Control is powerful, and we have it at 1 and they put it to 3. So we'll see if this holds any implications, if people are actually gonna start citing it. With Crossout Designator, obviously you can also negate it, so maybe just a bunch of people start putting Mind Control in, because why not? You know, by default, it's a good going second card. But maybe why it's okay to have it at 3 and why it doesn't see that much play is just because other cards are better. So for that, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. And then Salamangreat Great Circle. Salamangreat Great, I feel like it's also one of the decks heavily affected by power creep. It's just sometimes the pop, negate, maybe a hand trap in hand if you're lucky. It's just not enough. Like, the decks nowadays, they play through so many things. They just easily run through pops, through negations, through disruptions, to hand traps, through everything. So I feel like Salamangreat Great Circle coming back is great. They still have Gazelle at 1. So it's just, you know, more ways to see it, more ways to see your good monsters, maybe your level 4 monster, so you can go into Dweller or Baguska or something like that. So I think that's great, and maybe we can see something like that happen in the TCG also, which would be nice, you know, why not? But granted, here in Slovenia, people just play Salamangreat Great. They play, so many people play Salamangreat Great. It's so funny. So if we have anything like that happen here, our regionals are just gonna be overrun with Salamangreat Great. I can see it already. So yeah. Alright, so that was it. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I hope I covered everything, every implication, everything that was important. So just going over it once more. VFD banned, Mystic Mind banned, 2 uninteractive cards, which is great. To 1 Zeus, still don't really understand why to 1. Maybe just ban it if it's too good, or just leave it, but it's fine. They're starting to acknowledge that it's a problem. And then Gamma to 1. It's impactful. It's so powerful. They're a bit more than here, I think. Then semi-limited, we have Ovi, Desires, Crossout Designator, and Red MD. So 2 of them because of consistency, 2 of them to boost other decks, which is also good. And then unlimited, Nasty Pendulum Call, Circle, and also Mind Control. Mind Control, you know, but Nasty and Circle, which is great for archetypes. Also Pendulum Call. Maybe Electromite comes back. We'll see here, hopefully. And yeah, that pretty much wraps everything up. Please write in the comment section. Like, I honestly want to read what you think about it. If you feel like I've missed anything, if you feel like, you know, I've pointed something out that you maybe didn't think of, or just interact with me. I would love to hear it. Also like and sub. Check out Twitch as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.